World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Happy Tuesday. I am so excited, like I always am, to be in this space, and more so tonight. Tonight is a special night. One, I guess, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's so important for us to take care of our overall health, but also our emotional health and our mental health needs, correct? But tonight we are going to be I'm going to be talking to an important guest, right? And he is a phenomenal man. He loves money and he loves our credit, which is so important. But I think it goes beyond this, right? It goes beyond who he is and what he stands for. The Bold Show, like, we're always here to inspire, to impact, and motivate others to be the best version of themselves. And Mr. Glover, Mr. Tyrone Glover, he is a beacon. He's a beacon of excellence, and he's here to tell us why. But I'm not going to talk so much only about what he does. I want to also get into who he is as an individual and what makes him such an immaculate human being, right? And again, I want to acknowledge folks who are struggling, feeling sad, feeling alone, dealing with those emotions. Reach out for help. It really is okay. So without further ado, I want to introduce the CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. He's a consumer advocate, a mentor, influencer. He's a teacher. He's a Black man. Without further ado, I'm going to welcome Mr. Tyrone Glover. It is such an honor to have you here tonight.
I don't even know how to even begin to thank you for that intro. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. I'm cloud 500. Thank you. That was beautiful. Oh my goodness. All week, this is what I'm going to be raving about.
As you should.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that intro.
You are most welcome, and it's well deserved, right? And as a man of color, it is equally an honor to have you here to talk about such an important topic. We already struggle with so much as Black and brown individuals, right? We know there's the systemic barriers. There's so much that prevents us from being financially responsible, right? And for you, a man of color, you have such a passion about what it is that you do. So why don't you tell the viewers who you are? I know I gave all of the roles, right? Why don't you tell us who you are?
Well, thank you again, Marie, for having me on your show. I'm so blessed to be part of Soul City and this family that we're creating of professionals, unique, skilled, talented, wonderful Black individuals who are, have chosen to do what we do. And it's great to be in your midst. It's great to be in Soul City's midst. My name is Tyrone Glover, and I am your dressed down CEO. I'm not putting on another suit, another bow tie, another tie. I'm not doing that to convey a message that I'm already versed and skilled in, which is the credit lane. And I tell everybody, that's my lane. I don't want to be an insurance broker. I don't want to sell any of the other financial services. I want to help individuals right where it's going to have the most impact. When you're building anything, you have to have a stable foundation. And that stable foundation is going to come through how you manage your credit. So I chose to take this lane, and I mean, with Matt's and Soul City's now complement to my business, it's only helping me get that message out there to the public. So it's always a plus to be on other shows that would allow for me to showcase not just that talent, but also that understanding. I am a skilled 30-year corporate America executive who has worked for 19 different companies. And I have to thank all of those companies that have given me the opportunity to, starting with the military and working my way all the way through till I finished off my career with corporate America prior to getting into the academia field, Universal Studios. So it's been a love kind of hate relationship with corporate America, but I'm very, very grateful to the opportunities that they have extended to me. And now it's about passing that knowledge on to the youth and also equally to the adults who want it. Again, they have to want it more than we, the presenters or the information givers. And I'm hoping and praying that this will allow for us to meet all walks of life. But clearly, our community must benefit from what we are bringing to the table. And I'm an expert in this area. I'm talented, very well versed. And all I want to do is make sure that we as Black African Americans have.
Love it, love it, love it. But I have tuned into some of your shows, and you have a signature style about you, your hat. Talk to me. Like, I'm really curious. Talk to me about that before we dive into all that stuff. Talk to me about this hat.
Thank you so much. And it was a process because I was never a hat person. And I don't mind. Again, I got a little bit of hair up there and some baldness, but it's been it was something that I had to use or do to stand out. I didn't want to be just the haircut guy or the clean shaved guy. Sometimes I feel more comfortable with the hat. And I don't know where it came from because it used to be a Nike hat where it fit perfectly. And then over time, it developed into more of the artwork. So I was looking for hats that were kind of creative, that gave a different approach, but always color coordinated. It has to be in the same black and red, white and blue, green and yellow, but it was just something that got me away from the corporate and now put me more into that dynamic of my community. We see more individuals, African Americans, who relate more to those who are dressed apart, who look the part, who look just like them. Because I learned as a corporate American executive, I can still convey stuff, but it wasn't resonating to those who I needed to resonate to. And it was primarily the schools that got me to change into more of the hat-wearing individual. When I went into school for the very first time, them kids looked at me like, "Oh, we're about to eat you alive." I couldn't believe, because it was the corporate suit, it was the bow tie, it was the tie, dressed to the nines, smelling real good like we do. And them kids was like, no, you are not going to make it here. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I'm a soldier. I've been around a couple of blocks, but it took us about a week. I had to dress down. I had to really learn what was going to help me help them. So it was music that helped. It was dressing the role, but not giving up the understanding of who I am. I'm your teacher. I'm your mentor. I'm going to command respect and not demand respect. So it was a true understanding from students that helped me create the personality that you see today, but it wasn't losing any of that talent, that excellence that we as Black people already possess. So I made sure that I didn't lose anything. I just refined it so that it now can send that message to all walks of life. So that came through that.
I love it. And it is so important because as a social worker, just sitting here listening to you, that is what you basically did, was connecting and engaging. Because our kids, our youths, and we'll dive into that shortly, our youths want to know that whomever they are communicating with can relate to them and really understand what it is they're going through so they could grow together. So thank you so much for that adjustment. But I want you to talk to me. Why are you so passionate about credit, finances, accounting? Talk to me about that.
I grew up poor. I grew up as a foster child, and it was knowing at an early age that you were a financial resource for somebody that didn't sit well for me. And I went into foster care real early. And I know my biological mother. I have a great relationship and a love for her. I know my biological father, God rest his soul. I know all my biological siblings, but we just didn't have that, obviously, that connection that allowed for us to all stay together. I was lucky enough to graduate high school. Didn't know how I graduated high school because in foster care, sometimes you don't get that desired care, that love that's supposed to come. And I'm not faulting them. It was different time frames, different circumstances. But I was always somebody who watched and paid attention. Always was had that eye. And I never knew it up until this time frame why I was so observant, why I needed to pay attention. Because God gives us all that gift. He gives us all that understanding. We just don't know it yet. So it took a pandemic. It took the military. It took marrying into a very wealthy family after I left the military and moved over to Germany. So I speak I speak fluent Deutsch, and I love it. It was after I got that introduction into wealth and then coming back to the States, I had to readjust because that money wasn't there any longer. And then I came to find out that my social security number was not even my social security number. So it was all of these challenges that made me dive into something that we all have as part of our DNA, which is that financial understanding. And they removed so much of these components away from the academic facilities, and it made things worse. And we did what we needed to do as African Americans. We lent our social security numbers to family members. Okay, you need to get a phone, you might need to get a car, and you might need to. So we did what we needed to do, but we didn't do it with a strategic understanding. So I dove into this, making sure that whatever it is that I was going to be giving to the public, that I did my due diligence, that I went way back in history. I can tell you more about the social security number. I can tell you about minimum wage. I can tell you about a whole plethora of things when it comes to financial services. But I said I had to decide what's going to work for me. I was introduced to insurance. I was introduced to a whole all the walks that come with it. And I said, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. So I had to find something that I liked, and not just liked, but I had to find something that I was passionate about, that made me wake up every single morning and go, oh, I can do this. I can do this. I can help this person. I can help this person. So that's what you have in front of you today. The person who loves it, the person who is engaged in it probably way more than some of the business who are just about making sure that their pockets are full. I make sure that my clients' knowledge is full prior to anything else, because once they have that skill set and that understanding, and then again, they have to apply it. Once they do that, they're going to be set for the rest of their days. We got to get this knowledge back into the hands of those who have already had it. 1921, when you think about Black Wall Street, we were already doing this. We already had that understanding. We lost it along the way, and I'm just here to be the renaissance to bring it right back.
Mm. It's so profound, because this is information that it's not there just readily for anyone to access, right? I guess this is what's like making sense now, because on your website you basically says the best good guy. So I also work in child welfare. And thank you so much for sharing that and for being so vulnerable. I really appreciate that. And for our viewers who are here now or who will watch this after, you are here. This is experience. He's not just sitting here talking to you because he learned it in a classroom, right? This is Mr. Tyrone's experience. Again, we can all overcome. We all have 24 hours in one day. We get to decide. So you've overcome. You're an overcomer. You're an achiever. And you're a teacher. You're an advocate. You're an influencer. Talk to me about how you are giving back to community. What are the challenges and where do you see yourself?
Well, giving back is a daily understanding because, again, as you so eloquently stated, I'm a teacher. I'm someone who has been in, of the 40 schools here in Yonkers, I've been in 23 of them. So the connection that I make with all the kids is about really just that they have a trusted figure amongst the plethora of academic professionals that are there. And a lot of them, again, I don't, never speak ill of anyone, but a lot of them, sometimes they may have forgotten what their true calling is. And it's okay that you may not like it any longer, but you got to do it for not just self. And I think that's being selfish when you are just doing it for self. You really have to look out towards the audience and say, okay, you know what? I can give even more. So the passion comes from just knowing that we've done it before and we lost our way. So we now need to get back on track with that. And just the love. I'm a person who loves. My birth sign is Cancer. So if you are an astrological person who likes to follow that, we're caregivers. We are someone who genuinely cares for our fellow brother and sister. And it doesn't matter your ethnicity, it doesn't matter your race, it doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter anything. If you're struggling, I'll literally give you the shirt off my back to make sure that you have, and I'll go without for a minute because, as you said, I'm someone who I'm resilient. I'm someone who has overcome so many obstacles and looking back now at it, I'm like, wow, I'm technically not even supposed to be here with you today. I was part of the flight attendant crew that was lucky enough to not have been in the same path as those other flights that were going to the West Coast during 9/11.
Wow.
I was again. God has me here for a reason, and now I know what that reason is. I know what it is. It's to give from what He has given me, which is the knowledge, the understanding, and the patience to be able to take on this monumental task when it comes to talking about a sensitive subject like your finances. Because people are they're kind of standoffish when you start talking about money and how they're not using it wisely or properly. And there's been a lot of these tug of war situations that I've been in, but it's nice to say, hey, those onesies and twosies, I don't need the whole group. I don't need 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s. Onesies and twosies. And that's what's changing today. Because people now, I tell my students, if you're not 100 years old, you don't know what transpired after that last Great Depression or the pandemic of 1918. You have no clue. So I'm giving you a history lesson that even then, those individuals made their way through, and we're going to equally make our way through. It's how we're going to do that. If we do it properly with the financial understanding that the experts are bringing to the table, we're going to be fine. If we don't, you can't blame anyone. We can't keep saying the man's got his finger on our head or on our backs or whatever the case may be. Now, Reverend Al said something that was very poignant. He said they got their knee on our necks. Well, we just need them to get their knee off our neck because we can do whatever we need to do. We are that resilient. We are that strong. We come from great lineage, kings and queens, but yet we're still not acting like that. And I think with this understanding and being able to convey a message that I keep saying, it's so important. If we keep staying on point, we're going to do what we need to do.
And thank you for that explanation. And that is so true because for myself, like I was between, I like to say I was between clue and less when it comes on to finances. I had no idea what I was doing. And once I became conscious and be aware, and I started accessing information on my own and recognizing this too also contributes to my mental health, because we talked about that. We know that according to Maslow's theory, right, it's about our actions are driven by our needs as human nature, right? And when we don't have money, and this is why we have so much violence and so much chaos in our world at this point in time, right? So help me understand, or probably talk me through, because we're going to dive right into it now, right? And before I even go to that, so I noticed you also teach a class at the Yonkers Public Library on Saturdays. Do you want to talk to us about that? And we could segue into this whole financial responsibility.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I do teach a workshop at the Yonkers Public Library, 12 noon. And again, another great compliment to not just myself, but also Yonkers Public Library, when you know that you have individuals that see a need for a community and they say, hey, come on in, share that knowledge, share that understanding. It's talk finance with an expert. And I only call myself an expert. Again, most of these understandings of experts comes through a college or through various understandings. But I have a great friend, and you have a great friend that we both share, Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse.
Yes.
So when somebody of that caliber calls you their expert, then I'm going to run with that. So I definitely took that as a huge thank you very much for Dr. Yana B. But that show is about, again, giving information, free information, because the library provides all of the bulletins and all of the websites, anything that I need to post or put out there, they provide all that for free. So why not be someone who can equally give of their time to the public library to assist, again, communities in need. We're streaming it out on YouTube. We're streaming it out on the Facebook channel that is also available for us. But it's just, as I stated, it's just a work in progress that we're building, hopefully, to be able to not just get into the Yonkers public libraries, but in other libraries as we build this out. And I want to bring other individuals who are equally passionate about what they bring to the table to help, again, foster and build upon what we already have started. So the Yonkers Library has allowed for me to talk finance with an expert. And all I want to do is just make sure that the individuals of our community have what they need.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So folks, if you're listening, if you have your teenagers, make your way up to Yonkers Public Library. It's at 1 Larkin. Is it Plaza or Street? Plaza, yeah, in Yonkers, New York, and it's under the riverfront. So you have a scenic view, so you can beat on that, and you're learning about money management, which is so important.
And so, it's right in front of the train station, So it's literally, I mean, they made sure that we had everything that we need: buses, trains, planes.
Everything conveniently located, right?
Exactly.
So I know and I'm going to stick to us Black and brown folks, right? We are struggling so much and we don't even realize it, right? When we even think about it, like we're pretty much in an economic uncertainty right now, right? And managing our financial health is so important. How do you, especially when you're talking, because you're dealing with the youths, right? And I love what you said about being your authentic self and showing up as who you are. We often know we spend more than we can even afford.
Absolutely.
And you do credit counseling, right? How would you start that conversation? Especially because it comes with embarrassment as well. So how do you break that ice when you're meeting with your client for the first time? What does that look like?
One thing that I have to say, which is really good about being able to offer this type of service to individuals, is that they already know they need it. And that's the beauty of it. So it's a real simple, just how are you doing today? How's your credit score? Or something as simple as say when you got to think about it real quick, sometimes it doesn't come to you. Another good one, again, how's your credit score? What is, if you're at a 600, how does 700 look to you? Okay, and I know it seems kind of weird that someone would say, how does a 700 look to you? Most consumers would probably, I would love to have a 700. But the largest piece, or the most challenging piece, is getting individuals to stay committed. That has been the challenge. It's not really asking how or what. It's once, because we already know, as you said, we are African Americans who know that the financial realm has not been our best friend. We tend to do a lot more in the spending area versus in the savings or even the building area. We don't have enough assets or understanding. And since they've removed a lot of that from the academics community, it's really an eye opener for a lot of us who already, like I say, who already know. We already know that we could use a lot more in that space. So for me, it's been a lot easier to talk to individuals of color. It's been challenging to get them to stay committed to a process because it's all a process. When you invest in something, so if you were to say, okay, I want to take $100 and I want to invest in JP Morgan Chase, or I want to invest in Coca-Cola or whatever, those returns don't happen overnight. It
Yes.
takes time for that to get into the full swing of things. And same thing with building or reestablishing a positive credit understanding. It takes time. But if you put in that work, oh my goodness, that work will always pay off. And so and I hope I answered the question. For me, it was not about what type of a question I posed to someone, because as I stated, they already know. If they've looked at their credit or they went and attempted to try to get something from the biggest time of the years during the holidays, Christmas, where they're offering, 10% off here, 10% off there. It's really about just getting a person to stop for a second and just think. Is spending more than building? Is spending better than building? And once we start understanding, wow, I should be really putting this to the side, building for that rainy days. And we know as African Americans, it's been nothing but raining when it comes to finance. So it's just reestablishing, delivering a different approach to, and on my business cards, it says just teaching a business mindset. I'm a corporate American executive. So for me, it's always about, is your business growing? In that business of your household, is it growing? Because if it's not growing, then you're giving all of your resources to real businesses. Not saying that your household is not a business, but we have to start thinking a bit more strategically. You're dealing with businesses, so how come we're not thinking that our household should operate equally as a business? So I use a variety of different approaches with
Awesome.
consumers. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you certainly did. Thank you so much
Perfect.
thank you so much for that. I truly appreciate it. Just sitting here thinking and just like actually listening to you, uh, it's human nature, this instant gratification. Oh my God. I wish I could just whisk it away. And that commitment that you talked about. So I also noticed that you have like real positive reviews on your website, which is
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
So I want to push a little bit and ask about a challenging review that you may have received, because as individuals, we're always looking to grow ourselves as well as our business. So have you ever had a negative review that was ever given to you, and how did you handle that?
And this is the beauty of this area of finance. It's okay to get someone who says this is not working for me, because it lets me go back and reevaluate what didn't work. What was it that maybe I may have delivered something that was to a consumer that probably wasn't the ideal fit. I'm kind of like, I look at things like an actor. You're not going to always get the starring role. So it's okay to be, someone who sits on the side or someone who's the supporting cast. So I never take anything personal. If someone says, hey, I want a refund or whatever the case may be, here you go. We're not able to help every single person. So a negative comment doesn't, for me at least, I don't hold on to it. I grow from it. So when a consumer tells me that, hey, this is, your recommendation wasn't sufficient, great. Please elaborate what was it that wasn't sufficient. And then if you want whatever, again, you don't have to go into great detail. I just want my refund. Nope, here you are. If you ever need us back again, and here's the beauty of that, they always come back. They always, every person who may have said something in the past about, oh, you know what, this is not working. I even have some Republican friends, and I'm an independent, and my Republican friends who we don't talk about politics, we just talk about finance. Because if we talked about politics, we probably wouldn't be dealing with the finance, because that's how much of a important understanding that this is, that we leave the politics completely out and we focus strictly on the business. But negative comments for me are builders. Everything in this realm is about building. It's not about, oh my God, I internalize it and now I'm going to wait 3 and 4 months before I get back out there again. Nope. I take that negative. I look at what I could have done better for that client and I build upon that. And I thank that client for the positive or negative review. It doesn't matter to me. Not every person is going to be an ideal fit for every business.
You heard that from the expert. You all heard it from him. Negativity is an opportunity for growth. So, typically, how long does it take for, well, I know every circumstance is different, but typically, how long does it take for you to repair an individual's or to help that individual to repair their credit? Say someone comes to you with a negative credit score of probably like 400, right? Typically, how long would that take and what's the cost?
Prior to COVID, I would say it would have probably taken about a year or two. Now that COVID has really reintroduced, again, a whole new process, because 100 years ago, again, if anyone looks at where the stock market was, where it was back in 1932, if I'm not mistaken, or 1928, excuse me, 1928 when it first started, it was at 30, and then it rose to about 500. The Great Depression hit, and it went all the way back down to $41. So you think about the course of how people made money. They made money through stocks. When it comes to credit, it's really about behavior. And you have to be focused on making sure that you want to grow. So the time frame has changed because COVID now has reset an understanding. The government has said, well, first we were only giving you your credit report once a year. Now we're giving you your credit report every single week. So this is now an opportunity for individuals who really want to learn more about what's going on. Now you have a weekly report card that you're able to get access to, which is a plus. So now it's easier for those of us who are in that space to really help consumers, because now they can get that report card every week. So they can see every single week what they're doing and how they're improving. And for me, that is it's only helped grow the business. So I'm hoping that individuals now look at annual credit report, start getting that credit report, because it's about the data. The score can say one thing, but if the data is incorrect, guess what? Your score is incorrect. And there's a lot of malfeasance going on with the three credit reporting agencies, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. I want to clarify something too. They're not bureaus, and that was a trick by the industry to call them bureaus to make people think that they were attached to the government. No, they're not. They're private entities that make billions of dollars. And their business is good because they know that we're not informed about the accuracies of what has to take place when it comes to that credit reporting. It's all about accuracy. And if we don't know the accuracy about the data, then we're believing a score that is filled with a bunch of hyperbole and is not correct. The cost, I tell people, if you're at 18 or 20%, don't think about the cost. Think about that within a 6-month or now within a 9-month time frame, you could be from that 18, 20% down to 1 or 2. And that's where it really starts to hone in on individuals who have a business, not a business, but who are a bit wise to interest. Yes, if I'm paying 18 and I can bring it down to a 1 or 2, look how much of that gap I'm able to free up. So for us, it's never about the cost. It's always about making sure that we have a client or a consumer that understands the longevity of, if they start and then have a plan, as Yana says all the time, if you don't have a plan to succeed, you have a plan to fail. So we don't really focus on cost. We look at the overall understanding of the consumer's credit profile. We say we have a $50 intro to give you a 30 minutes free consultation. Then we can take you into whatever time frame. After an hour, we put you on the clock. So it's going to be $50 an hour. But we get consumers pretty much done within that first 30 minutes. We have them already on an understanding. You can either do it for yourself, meaning we'll coach you. That's what the Saturday sessions are for, to walk you through. If you want to be that type of a consumer who, hey, you know what, I don't have the time. or excuse me, I have the time and I'll make the time to come to your workshops, or I'm a type of consumer that doesn't. I'll evaluate. It's a free credit analysis, which we give you a state of your credit, and then we give you a roadmap to financial success. That, again, if you want to do it on your own, here you go. And if you want us to be the leader in making sure that everything is being done properly, then yes, we'll set up a cost analysis that will work to your budget, not to our bottom line, but to your budget. Because if we can keep you on point, the cost is going to pay off much, much later down the road. Because think of it like this. If you didn't have us and you went out and bought a car, and that car you got hit with a 22% interest, that 22% interest, I like to call that default, because it's only just a matter of time before you default. You're talking about $800, $900, maybe $1,000 car payment. That's without insurance. So
Wow.
that insurance now is going to add another 200, 300, 400. Then you forget about wear and tear. So there's even more costs. But by working with us for, say, 6 months, even 3 months, by using credit building transaction methods, you could see yourself in 3 months from a 400 to a 600 or a 700. Now you go looking for a car 3 months later, instead of getting hit with a 24% interest, you probably get that car at a 3 or a 4. So there's always pluses that come after, but you got to weigh those yourself. And it's up to us, the company, to make sure that the client fits. If it doesn't, we should be very cautious and tell that client, you know what, it's not going to work for you because you don't have the resources or income or whatever it may be. Build on that. And I'm a corporate America executive. I'm someone who can tell someone, go get you a second job. Go get you a second hustle. Find a niche that's going to work for you, because what you're doing right now might not be sufficient, because you're going to need credit building products. It's all about the products, what you're doing to build, not just having, but are you building properly?
Awesome information. I hope folks are really tuning in and will listen. And while you're at it, can you recommend some agencies that tracks our credit score over a period of time so we have access? Because I think that's also great information for people to know.
Absolutely. Fair Isaac Corporation, which is the FICO, FICO, that's one company that is more nationally known throughout the credit realm. You do have the Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, but again, you got to be careful of those. Those are the culprits that created all of these problems to begin with. You do have the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protections Bureau. If you run into any issues with not getting your reports or things of that nature, there's a lot of companies out there, but I always tell individuals, do your homework first. There's Lexington Law. There's a host of different credit reporting, not just credit reporting, but credit companies. And this is why ours is different. We focus on the recovery because it's a behavior. A lot of individuals focus on repair. You can't repair credit. You can't repair a behavior. You have to recover from bad habits. And that's the only way that you can really address this concern. And the industry itself has always focused on repairing. You can repair a broken window. You can repair a flat tire. You can't repair bad behavior. You have to recover from bad behavior. You have to have mentors and tutors and teachers and influencers, people who are passionate about your recovery. Alcoholics Anonymous, they focus on recovery, not repairing, because you can't repair an alcoholic. You have to recover from, and you need the tools and the resources from those experts that have gone through a lot of that detrimental behavior. So that's what we do here. And it's the difference between a company that focuses on recovering, even debt consolidation. No, because that was a lesson learned, that you're giving someone something that you yourself can do. You can negotiate your terms and conditions. You just have to know, how do I negotiate those terms and conditions? We all can speak, we all can talk. We just need to know the business lingo. Exactly. If you go to a different country, you're probably going to either have a translator or you're going to have a book that you can translate yourself, but you're not just going to go out there and attempt to do it on your own. It's going to be very challenging. You might get what you need, but it's going to take a lot more work to get there. But with us, it's all about making sure that you have all the tools prior to. I tell everybody, don't think that in a week or two you can go buy that car. It's not going to happen that fast. Don't think in a week or two that you can go get that apartment or that home. It's not going to happen that fast. You got to put in that work, and once you put in that work, the payoff is going to come. ROI, return on that investment. Return on that investment. Everyone should always be thinking about the return on their investment.
Wow. This, like, I'm just sitting here and I wish I'd met you like in my younger years. So I literally had to learn and learn the hard way. But now, like, I pay attention to every single thing I do. And I'm really hoping that my sisters and my brothers, like, they will understand the importance of having financial wealth and just the knowledge. Because sometimes it breaks my heart when I look like folks they live in the projects. I'm not knocking the projects, right? But you see these expensive cars. And I'm saying to myself, where did we go wrong? So talk to me about the disproportionality of when we talk about even our income as Black people. Can you shed some light on that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, definitely. Thank you for, again, your questions are so, and I'm just so great. I mean, I'm just so glad that I'm on a show where the host has equally that passion and love for the community. And the government set it all up. So when we think about systems weren't broken. They were designed this way. When you think about the Constitution, we weren't included in the Constitution. We were just a consolation prize that came with the Constitution, free labor. When you think about the number one and number two crop that built America was cotton and tobacco,
Yes.
and that was free labor. So not knocking those who are in situations where they would not love to find themselves, but it is a stepping stone. And all you need is guidance and support. When we have elected officials that think it's more important to invest in a company like an Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian, instead of holding them accountable to keeping too many of us in these underserved situations.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it is. We have to look at our spending and change it into our power. Once we do that, we can start really moving the needle. We can say, okay, you know what? I might live in the ghetto, or I might live in an underserved community for now. But if I apply some of the methods and tools that I'm getting from Marie, and if I apply some of the methods and tools that I'm getting from Tyrone, and I apply some of the methods and tools that I'm getting from other experts in their field of study, in a short period of time, I can see myself out of these situations. But it's going to take both. It's going to take the willpower of those who want it more than the presenters, and it's going to take us to make sure that we're putting into these elected offices individuals who also care about us as well. They can't just say they care and then their policies dictate something different. They have to actually care. And when they do that, guess what we'll have? We'll have those ladders or those steps that get us from, if I'm living in a slow bomb, or if I'm living in a Whitney Young, or if I'm living in wherever it is that I'm living, and I want to be out of that, say, in 6 months or a year, it's more than possible now. The resources since President Obama has been plentiful. Obama threw out a lot. Trump threw out a lot. Biden threw out a lot. So it's all out there. It's all out there. We just now need to find those willing partners. And that's the big key. Willing partners that want to go through the ups and downs and the challenges that may come. I always say to people, I've already done heavy lifting for you. You don't have to do any heavy lifting. All you have to do is apply yourself and then stick to the plan.
Wow. Mr. Glover, we need more of you out there. Talk to me about your company, your size. Like, how many staff do you have? And what are some of the core values? I got a sense of that, but I like to hear from the horse's mouth. So talk to me about some of your core values and how large is your staff?
Well, we're I'm a home base. You can see I'm on the couch. So
Okay.
I do everything right from this computer that I'm talking to you right now. Prior to COVID, we gave all of our clients, we had about 300 clients, we gave them all the time off to reevaluate their circumstance. They're slowly coming back now, so we're grateful for the ones who have realized, hey, you know what? COVID did prove that I still need financial literacy. And we're just now opening the door again to nonprofit organizations, churches, any groups that really see that you're already giving the community something. You just need to find that synergy, that next new energy that's going to be able to grow that even more. We're looking to create a nonprofit alongside with our for-profit. Again, I believe it's so important to give things away for free. Super
Yes.
important, but that will only satisfy a particular realm or a particular size of the community. So we want to have both dynamics. And our stock is, again, as I said, it's just me and three other people. My good friend Susan Itu. She does all of my advertisements, and she's helped me with making sure that it stays on point. She designed my website, and she designed my business cards, and she's just a marketing expert who made the vision, because I was all over the map. When she saw my stuff, she was looking at me like, boy, you don't know what you're doing. I was like, you're
She,
absolutely right. So
she helped you with your digital footprints, right?
she helped me clean it up.
Okay, got it.
That was the plus. And then my other good friend is Danica Roselle. She's in California, and I met her when just before I moved out back to Yonkers, New York. And again, women, I have to say this really quick. It's the decade of the woman, and we as men who do not mind taking a back seat to all of these brilliant, wonderful, amazing women out there, especially our Black women as well, we haven't supported you enough. So I'm here to tell you that I don't mind taking the back seat to a beautiful, wonderful, amazing sister who knows what they're doing, who knows how to bring it to the forefront, and I don't mind giving you that praise and that love and that understanding that you're rightfully deserving of. So my female friends who have helped me along this journey, they deserve way more praise than I'm giving them right now, because without them, I would not be where I am today. My mother, my sisters, my nephews, my nieces, the family unit helped me get to where I am today, and I'm just so grateful for that. And this is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. The beginning of the year had me reevaluate: was I operating a business or was I operating a hobby? I found out that I was operating a hobby. So I needed to rethink the structure of how I wanted to make this and formulate this into that business that will now be able to invest more and seek out now opportunities that comes to all business with raising capital and really just now taking it to that next level. Because as I stated, perfect timing. Perfect timing. We're 2 years after COVID. We're seeing more individuals now realize that their financial situations are not as ideal as they thought they were. And with not having that financial literacy knowledge is huge. I never knew that we had to be financially intelligent until someone asked me, are you financially intelligent? I had to think back for a minute and go, well, what is financial intelligence? Financial intelligence is applying the financial literacy
that you learn.
So it's a labor of love that I'm so pleased and blessed with, and I'm just grateful that I have the vernacular and the patience and the talent and the skill to be able to convey something to all walks of life, primarily, as I stated, individuals who look like you and I. And the response is phenomenal. I am so grateful to Yonkers Public Schools. I'm so grateful to the Yonkers Public Library. I'm now the economics chair, the economic development chair committee chair of the Yonkers NAACP. So I've been blessed with another opportunity to really, again, Yonkers is a small 210,000 individuals, and I'm just looking forward to being able to take the 13 to 18% of African Americans and put us back on the map. If we have to start somewhere, you start at home first.
So thank you for saying that. What is your concrete goal for 2023 in terms of what's your goal?
Well, one, to definitely the couch. I love it, but to be off the couch. to be off the couch. But when inflation goes from 1.32, which was 2 years ago, all the way up to 9, and now it's slowly making itself back down to 6, you got to be strategic about, diving into that pool of assets. So I don't mind. I don't mind as long as I have a loving, supporting family that's okay with the fact that, hey, you know what? We're going to help each other out, because ultimately, as I stated, it's about that ownership. So I'm hoping that with God's grace and the love of my community and everybody else who support me, that by the end of this year, or even prior to the end of this year, I'm hoping that by the end of the school year, own resident, back to being a homeowner again, and just keeping my focus, and 300, getting back to those 300 consumers that we had previously prior to COVID, seeing them all back again, and then making sure that we're delivering upon their expectations. We're going to meet our goal. My job is to make sure that we meet the consumer's expectation of where they want to be. Now, I said, or you asked earlier, what's the time frame? It's all about cycles now. Everything is being generated by an algorithm, or it's being generated by some form of AI. So you have to stay on point. You have to check and make sure that everything is being done accordingly. And if you're not doing that part, it's going to make it harder for them to reach their goal. We're doing what we need to do for us and for the consumer. We just have to make sure that that consumer understands the mindset. You're a business. You are a business. And if you're not operating like a business, then you're going to set yourself up for failure. And I like to say these 3 things. You are the CEO of the household. Your children are your investments, and your friends and colleagues, they're either your assets or they're your liabilities.
Say that again.
You are the CEO of that household. Your kids are your investments, so there got to be a return on that investment. And your friends or your colleagues, they're either your assets or they're your liabilities. And you have to choose wisely.
I love it. What's your greatest achievement? Or achievements?
Greatest achievement is having a spiritual connection with the Almighty. I think for me, not having that for a long period of time, trying to find that synergy that He has put in me to really realize, again, you don't necessarily have to go to someone's worship church or house of worship. You can worship with Him alone. But having that connection is what I lost, and it's nice to be able to have it back, because everything that I do is done because of Him. I don't do anything without knowing that God is leading. Even this conversation that we're having right now, He's leading that conversation. None of this is done through me alone. So I'm not a person who forgets where He's come from. If it were not for Him, when I sat down in California and the things weren't going accordingly, and He said, boy, I told you I'm going to make you spend all of that I gave you. I need you somewhere else. And even when I got back here, He said, okay, I got you on course, but you deviated. I had to humble you. And He brought me right back to where He said, now that you've been humbled, I'm giving you even more resources and more opportunities. Go out and do it in the manner in which I've put forth for you. So that's my biggest accomplishment right there. Just being able to realize that the Creator is in control, not me.
I love it. I love it. Humility. It's a good virtue for us to have.
Absolutely. And without that, you just set yourself up for greater disappointment. And as a foster child, I've watched disappointment. As a military veteran, I've watched disappointment. As career jumper from this one to that one to this one to that one. And again, nothing through any malfeasance or any ill behavior, I'm just someone who doesn't like conflict. That's your business. I'm not going to go back and forth with you over policy when I'm bringing you 18 and 19 and 20%. I'm not doing that. You need to go talk to those individuals who on your other stores are only bringing you 1 and 2. So I'm not here for that. I'm here to make sure that we as a business grow. I'm here to make sure that we as a community grow, but I'm here to make sure that I grow first and foremost to get to where I need to be, but I can only give my best to those who are open to receiving that best, that good of me. And I'm, as you said, the best good guy, because I've always been told, oh, you're such a nice guy. You're such a great guy. You're such a good guy. And I tell people too, I could be a pain in the butt. I could be a rude, nasty, mean, ornery cuss. But why? There's already millions of those out there. Let's have 2 or 3 that are all about the good, all about the positive, what we bring to the community, and so that people can. And my students, I'm telling you, one of the most beloved teachers is right here in front of you right now. And it's not, as I stated, I don't demand anything from anyone. It's about a commanding understanding that people already see. There's a regalness that they love and they appreciate. And that's why I get what I get, which is nothing but a positive response, no matter where I am, no matter who I meet, whether it be a child or whether it be someone who's already in that 90s, 100 range. I can get along with any and everyone.
Love it, love it, love it. As a Black man, and you have been vulnerable and you've shared your challenges and how you've been resilient. How do you heal and how do you continue to take care of yourself?
Wow, that's another. Again, I have to put it all into the man's hands. I mean, without it, and I think we have to get closer in these times of trials and tribulations and the amounts of deaths that are going on and all of the political situations. It's because of him. And my trials and tribulations are nothing compared to what he went through, and nothing compared to those who are still going through what they're going through. So I just look to him for everything, and I just make sure that I'm walking in that same understanding. You'll never see me doing something different than what you see today. You won't. You won't see me speaking out of one end and then talking in another manner. This is me, and I think people want authenticity, I think I said that properly.
Authenticity.
Yes, they want that. They want someone who's real, someone who doesn't mind telling them, this is not how we act. My nephews and nieces will tell you all the time, you can't hang out with Uncle Tyrone if you're not proper, if you're not, again, doing the things that we know we're supposed to. If you out there acting the fool, acting crazy, or doing, that doesn't work, because that's not who we are. It's not who we are. We come from royalty, so we need to get back to understanding that's how we must display ourselves. It's not a front. Oh, you talk like the white folks. Well, how do white folks talk? Because I never really understood that. Or one of my nieces said when I was younger, oh, you don't talk like us. Well, how do us talk? Because I just use words. I use the same words that other people use. I just use it in a different understanding that is hoping that it resonates with you, so that you walk away with thinking, hey, wait a minute. Maybe I don't have to keep using the 7 words that we use on a regular basis, knowing that we have 180,000 words in a dictionary, but we use only a select few to convey our messaging. No, we have to do better. So I hope that, again, answered that question.
It absolutely did. If your best friend was here and I asked him what he liked least about you, what would he say?
I talk too much.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it. I love it. I love
always
it.
giving that advice. I'm always giving. Even one of my best friends, he had himself in a little bit of a situation. He's like, "Come on, just get to the meat and potatoes." And I'm like, "What do you need? What do you need? Okay, here you go. Bye." So, yeah, I love to talk. I think it's important, but as long as it's of value, it has to be a value. You can't just be talking just to be talking. It has to be something that individuals will look at and go, you know what? I'm gonna apply that, and it's gonna pay off. That's the plus. It's going to pay off.
Okay. We have 3 minutes. So this is the rapid section. Do you have a love of your life right now?
Me.
Okay.
I'm in love with me. I did. I was married once. I was in a long-term relationship. I've only been in 2 relationships. and I'm going to have to, put that on pause until here is right that I can, because I'm about 50-50. And once it goes 51-49, 51 is going to try to get to 55, and the next thing you know, you got an upside down relationship. So it's really about that.
Awesome. Mother's Day is coming up. What plans do you have for all the beautiful women that you talked about earlier?
Well, I told my mom that we're going to definitely take her out on Mother's Day. She's probably going to be with the other siblings, but I plan on taking her out after that. But as I just said, I love all women. We come from women. Women are the most compassionate, the most loving, the most understanding, and we as men need to step to the side and give them the opportunity to do what they already know that they can do. That's all it is. We just have to get out the way and let women do, because they will probably do a much better job than we as men. And clearly men have not been doing what they need to be doing, because you can tell by our political situation. So let the women shine. Happy Mother's Day, early Mother's Days to all the beautiful women out there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. What would you say to your younger self?
Get your finances under control.
What words of wisdom? Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I'm going too fast. Go ahead.
Get your finances under control. Definitely prior to 25.
Got it. What words of wisdom would you like to leave for the youths or anyone who's going to watch this later?
Patience, understanding, commitment.
Finish the statement. Tyrone is
the best good guy.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure having this amazing conversation with you. May you continue to just spread your blessings, your knowledge, because we need it so much. Have an amazing rest of your night and purpose and an incredible week. Thank you, my viewers.
All the success in the world to you and yours. Continue to keep giving us that bold understanding. Again, nothing but great success. I wish you and yours a wonderful rest of your evening, and continue to stay well.
Thank you. Received.
Yes.
Good night, my viewers.
Good night. Thank you.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.